Well, hello, BookTube. Welcome back to the History Shelf. My name is Peg. I'm so glad you could join me today. This is my second video of the new year, and I have got a lot of catching up to do. A lot of videos I want to make, covering some of my favorite reads from 2024. I'm just starting to get those lists in my mind and starting to chart that out. Kind of want to do a follow-up on Historathon 2024 as well. But yeah, since I was really sick over the holidays for a good 2-week period, I lost a lot of time. Just really started to feel human again about a week ago. Yeah, so back to making videos. So this video, I'm going to be highlighting some of the new historical fiction that is coming soon to a bookstore near you, or a few of them, they might already be out now. But yeah, it's been kind of piling up. A lot of books coming over the transom here at the History Shelf. And I wanted to highlight some fiction reads for you. Historical fiction fans out there, I've got a treat for you. I've got a lot of cool books to make you aware of. Let's start with some of the books that actually I'm writing reviews for, and I was supposed to have them done at the end of December. For the February issue of Historical Novels Review. And if in case you don't know, if you're new to the channel, I am a book reviewer, and I'm also an editor at Historical Novels Review. One of a handful of editors there, where we source books with historical fiction content and work with reviewers, get the reviews, edit them, and all that kind of stuff. It's great fun. I'm really enjoying myself. We also write book reviews too. And before I became an editor, I was primarily a book reviewer, but then I was kind of worked my way up into an editor slot. But I still select a few books for every issue that I'd like to review. And I had 4 of them. They were all due, and then I got so violently sick at the same time that I was putting together. We kind of revolve or rotate the duties of the editorship as far as sending out new lists, and we're already working on May, and that this was my time to start sending out lists right over the time that I was sick, and it was brutal. So I have to give a big shout out to my fellow editors who really stepped in for me, but I had to postpone my reviews for these books until March, and that's when I'll send them in for the May issue. But anyway, probably went off in a tangent there. But let me show you the 4 books let's see, 2 I've read and 2 I have to finish. So let's start with this one. This book, oh yeah, I think it's already out. So it got bumped because I was ill. But anyway, this is a mystery, historical fiction. Yeah, it's set in historical times. It's called Those Opulent Days by Jackie Pham. It's a mystery. It's from Atlantic Monthly Press. It's an imprint of Grove. Let me just read to you a quick synopsis of this. I found it really good. I enjoyed it. It says here, a classic historical murder mystery centered around the glamour, violence, and wealth, and opium, I should say, of 1920s French colonial Vietnam. Let's see here. I hope I'm pronouncing these names right. Duy Phong Minh and Edmund have been best friends since childhood. Now, as young men running their families' formidable businesses, they make up Saigon's most powerful group of friends in 1928 Vietnam's elite society, until one of them is murdered. In a lavish mansion on a hill in Dalat, all 4 men have gathered for an evening of indulgence, but one of them won't survive the night. Toggling between this fatal night and the 6 days leading up to it, told from the perspectives of the 4 men, their mothers, their servants, and their lovers, an intricate web of terror, loyalty, and well-kept secrets begins to unravel. As the story creeps closer to the murder and as each character becomes a suspect, the true villain begins to emerge. Colonialism, the French occupation of Vietnam, and the massive economic differences that catapult the wealthy into the stratosphere while the poor starve on the streets. So yeah, is this Jackie's first book? Let's see here. I think this might be her first book. Anyway, Those Opulent Days by Jackie Pham. It should be out right now, actually. So, once my reviews are published, I will include those in my social media. In case you want to follow me, it's in the description box. You can follow me in all the major social media sites, and I post where I can direct links to the review, or I just let you know it's up at the certain publications website, and you can go check it out. Okay, so boom. And then I was so excited for this one. So excited. And I really enjoyed it, and I hope he does more. You probably will recognize this name if, obviously if you come to this channel, you enjoy reading history. Admiral James Stavridis has written several books. A lot of them about like naval history, but mostly like naval leadership and like leadership principles. But he's written books about sea stories and that kind of stuff. I've got several of his books, like The Sailor's Bookshelf. It's coming out with another one called, I think, The Admiral's Bookshelf or something like that. But this is his first novel. I love it. So it's his first historical fiction of World War II. It's called The Restless Wave, a novel of the United States Navy. James Stavridis. And this is by Penguin Press. Loved it. He puts pen to paper and good things happen. So whether it's nonfiction or fiction, he's a great writer. And there's already been advanced praise for this. Kirkus review starred it. Lots of major writers, publishers, weekly gave another thumbs up, and I'll be giving it a thumbs up as well because I really enjoyed it. Let me just read to you a little synopsis of it. All right, Scott Bradley James arrives in Annapolis, Maryland as a plebe in the class of 1941 without a terribly good idea why he wants to be a naval officer. Is it pleb or plebe? I'm sitting here in the back of my mind as I'm talking going, Peg, if you said it wrong. I think I've always said plebe, but I think I've heard pleb as well, whatever. He's always known he wants to be a naval officer. Other than that, his father was a sailor, and he wants to see the world, whatever that means. Scott and his roommate become fast friends, and after surviving scrapes of their own making, the two fetch up at Pearl Harbor. War is brewing, and their class has graduated early. They have been sent to battle stations. Admiral James Stavridis is an acclaimed novelist, a decorated military leader, and a great student of military history. He draws on it all to capture the experience of being storm-tossed by the first bloody years of the Second World War. Scott Bradley James is a talented young officer, but he has a lot to learn, and war will have a lot to teach him. The Restless Wave offers a gripping account of the U.S. Navy's astonishing progress over the first 3 years of the war in the Pacific, from Pearl Harbor through to the Coral Sea, Midway, and Guadalcanal. A story of character under pressure is the harshest of proving grounds. It is written with careful fidelity to the truths of war that have made sea stories essential to the art of storytelling since Odysseus. That's really good jacket copy, by the way. Yes. So has he written, the way they wrote that, it made it sound like he's written other novels, and maybe if he has them. Oh, yeah, no, I know what they're talking about. He's a co-author of a few books, 2 novels actually that are set in like future wars. 2034, a novel of the next World War, and 2054, a novel. Yeah, he was a co-author on that. I have not read those, but this one I really loved. I believe it's out right now. I think, it should be, because it was supposed to run in the February issue of Historical Novels Review, but had to be postponed. But anyway, The Restless Wave, I heartily recommend this, especially if you enjoy authentic World War II novels and stories. Okay. Now this one I started to read it, but I was so sick with that flu. I had a fever. I could not think. I was miserable. It was sucks. For 2 weeks, I couldn't pick up a book. I didn't want to. And even the week after that, I'm like, do I want to even go back to reading or doing any of this? It's like I was questioning my existence. It was pretty bad. But anyway, because it was sad because, this book is coming out in March. And I'm such a big fan of this writer's work. In fact, I have got several of his books, a few of them in these advanced review copies, but I like his work so much, I want to get all of his works in hardcover and or paperback. But anyway, this is P.T. Duderman, so another World War II novel. This is his new book coming out very soon, The Second Son. And I have reviewed at least 2, maybe 3 of his novels for Historical Novels Review. Really, really enjoy his work. So when I saw this, I said, reserve this one for me. I've got to read it. So I'll be finishing this one up. And like I said, these reviews will be due in March. So what is The Second Son about? Let's take a look. March 1945, Captain Wolfe Bowen. After a career of commanding destroyers in the Pacific theater of the Second World War, is now based in Washington, D.C., working for the Chief of Naval Operations. There, he receives an urgent call from the commander of the Naval Shipyard in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. The U.S. has captured a German U-boat and brought it to port. What stuns Bowen is both the massive size of this U-boat, along with 2 Japanese civilians on board. What these 2 Japanese men know about the cargo of the German U-boat, as well as its destination, begins a race against time that could change the course of the war and history in P.T. Duderman's captivating new World War II thriller. Okay, so let's see here. There's a little bit more. Yes, it says here, following the death of President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, Vice President Harry Truman ascends to the Oval Office as Commander-in-Chief, but with no prior knowledge of the Manhattan Project. Captain Bowen is assigned a dangerous mission: discover whether Japan has the technology to produce an atomic weapon, and find out how close the desperate Japanese military is to deploying it. Working with a small team, including Captain Willem Amherst van Rensselaer, part of the Inner Circle on the Manhattan Project, and Lieutenant Commander Janet Waring, a naval intelligence officer and skilled translator of Japanese, Bowen must report back to President Truman with the information that will transform the war and the world. Yeah, he's a great writer, and as I say here in this pub sheet, and I've talked about this before on the channel, that P.T. Duderman, he had a very long career in the Navy. He was a captain. His own family had served, family members had served in the Pacific Theater. And it brings an air of authenticity when you're reading his novels that you just don't find it anywhere else. It's at times the technical detail is so just technical and detailed that you're like, it's like I don't know what he's talking about. But it makes it sound like it's someone who's been there and knows the way around a battleship, a destroyer, a cruiser, a submarine. I mean, he does his research. So, plus he spins a great tale. He's just a really good storyteller. So The Second Son, P.T. Duderman. This comes out, what is the release date? March 18th, according to this advanced review copy. Sometimes they jigger the dates a little bit. They can come out a little early or a little later, but that's what we're looking at for this one, March 18th. So looking forward to that. And then I've got a University Press, little slim volume, but it sounds intriguing. This is from Columbia University Press, and this is a book called Eclipse by Keiichiro Hirano. Keiichiro Hirano. Translated by Brent Deshane and Charles DeWolf. It's like 152 pages. This one actually came out at the end of November, I think, or mid-November. In the late 15th century, a young Dominican friar sets out on a journey from Paris to Florence in search of manuscripts of pre-Christian philosophy. Along the way, he encounters an ascetic alchemist in a small village. As the young man falls under the spell of the alchemist's quest for enlightenment, a series of disasters, culminating in a total solar eclipse, strikes the village with profound consequences. Kichiro Hirano's Eclipse was a meteoric literary sensation when it first appeared in 1998. Its author, still an undergraduate, was hailed as a prodigy. The book received Japan's most prestigious literary award, the Akutagawa Prize, and became a bestseller. Set on the eve of the Renaissance in Europe, Eclipse depicts a society that is on the surface vastly different from modern-day Japan. Yet its account of a challenge to dualistic binaries and ossified worldviews holds striking contemporary resonance and philosophical depth. Taking the form of a memoir, Eclipse brings together an evocative portrayal of its historical setting, including the lore of medieval alchemy, with a rich literary lexicon, lush imagery, and psychological intricacy. This vivid translation offers Anglophone readers a vital work by one of Japan's most distinctive voices. So I love reading in the realm of fiction. I do love reading translated work from around the world. So I'm really looking forward to this, again, little slim little volume. But sounds like it packs a little bit of a punch there. Okay, so moving on from, we'll move into this one next. And then this book, I was really excited. I got this through Book Browse as part of their Book Browse book club. And if you haven't yet, check out Book Browse, and I always link somewhere below in my description box that, you can sign up and get $5 off a year membership, and you get access to all my reviews, full reviews, not the lockdown kind, so that are very limited. But there's book clubs, there's first impressions, there's articles, there's interviews, there's lots of cool stuff on Book Browse. But anyway, they have a book club, and I got an advanced review copy of this book, which just came out, went on sale on January 14th, and now we're discussing it in the book club. But this is by an author. I had read her previous book. I also believe it was for Book Browse. Clytemnestra. Loved it. I loved her take on... Jennifer Saint had written Electra, which was like another angle on the Clytemnestra story, and Agamemnon and all that. But I really enjoyed this author's take on Clytemnestra. Her name is Costanza Casati. But anyway, this is her new book. And I'm really enjoying it so far. This is Babylonia, King's Fall, Queen's Rise. Costanza Casati. Yeah, so isn't this beautiful too? This is put out by Source Books. And I'll read a little bit of it to you here. The January 14th. This was, okay. It says here, Babylonia across the centuries has become the embodiment of lust, excess, and dissolute power. In this world, you had to kill to be king. Or in the case of Semiramis, an orphan raised on the outskirts of the empire, queen. Nothing about Semiramis's upbringing could have foretold her legacy, but when she meets a young representative of the new Assyrian king, a prophecy unfolds before her, one that puts her in the center of a brutal world and in the hearts of two men. Caught in the politics and viciousness of ancient Assyria, I guess it's also pronounced Semiramis, right? I said Semiramis, whatever. Semiramis. Semiramis trains in war and diplomacy, and with each move she rises in rank, embroiled in a game of power, desire, love, and betrayal, until she can ascend to the only position that will ever keep her safe. In her second novel, Costanza Casati brilliantly weaves myth and ancient history together to give Semiramis, the only female ruler of the Assyrian Empire, a voice, charting her captivating ascent to a throne no one promised her. And there's the cover of Clytemnestra. Let's see it right there. There you go. It was a great book, too. So, you know, especially since she's writing about the Assyrians, you have to know this is very, very violent. There's a lot of violence in these books, but I'm enjoying it, and I'm also enjoying the conversation in the book club forum. So that is out now if you guys are interested. Let's take a look-see. Is this, okay, here's another one. This book, I think, is out now. No, February 11th. But it sounds really intriguing. This is Brother Bronte by Fernando Flores. It's an interesting cover. Let me see here. It's coming out February 11th from McD Books, which is an imprint of Farrar, Straus, and Giroux. Okay, the year is 2038, and the formerly bustling town of Three Rivers, Texas, is a surreal wasteland. Under the authoritarian thumb of its tech industrialist mayor, Pablo Henry Crick, the town has outlawed reading and forced most of the town's mothers to work as indentured laborers at the Big Tex fish cannery, which poisons the atmosphere and lines Crick's pockets. Scraping by in this godforsaken landscape are best friends Prosperina and Neftali, the latter of whom, one of the town's last literate citizens, hides and reads the books of the mysterious renegade author Jasmine Manel Rivas, whose last novel, Brother Bronte, is finally in Neftali's possession. But after a series of increasingly violent atrocities committed by Crick's forces, Neftali and Prosperina, along with an unforgettable female cast that includes a wounded Bengal tigress, 3 scheming triplets, and an underground network of rebel Tias, I don't know what that is, rise up to reclaim their city and in the process unlock Rivas's connection to the Three Rivers itself. Okay, so I think I might have accidentally included this book in this video because it's not historical fiction. No. Wow. But it sounds interesting, doesn't it? Mordant gonzo romp through a ruined world that in its dysfunction, tyranny, and disparity nonetheless feels uncannily like our own. Okay, well, if you're interested, this book is coming out February 11th. Oh, I don't know how I got that mixed up. I've got stacks under this table, under my desk, people, because they've been piling up since I unwillingly had to check out of life for 3 weeks. It was almost a month, really. And don't get me started about my lions. You thought I wasn't going to mention it, right? Listen. I never thought we'd make it all the way with our defense being so completely shattered. We were a shell of ourselves. The fact that we got this far with, like, not even bench warming defensemen, I mean, it's amazing. It really is. But we weren't going to get to the Super Bowl without Hutchinson. Come back, Aiden Hutchinson. We're going Super Bowl next year. Yeah, I'm saying it right now. Oh, I see. Oh, this is the one I bought. Okay. See, I've got like a book outlet book haul. I want to keep those books kind of separated, but then I got a bunch of other books that are coming in. Let's start with this. Let's go with this one. I was going to review this for shelf awareness, and again, I missed out on so many reviews. But anyway, this is from New Vessel Press, and this is The Lady of the Mine by Sergei Lebedev, translated by Antonina Bui. The mystical laundress at the center of this novel is obsessed with purity. Her task is formidable as she stands guard over a sealed shaft at a Ukrainian coal mine that hides terrible truths. The bodies of dead Jews lying in its depths seem to attract still more present-day crimes. Sergei Lebedev portrays a ghostly realm riven by lust and fear just as the Kremlin invades the same part of Ukraine occupied by the Wehrmacht in World War II. Then corpses rain from the sky when a jet liner is shot down overhead, scattering luxury goods along with the mortal remains. Eerie coincidences and gruesome discoveries fill this riveting exploration of an uncanny place where the geography exudes violence and where the sins of the past are never all that in the past. So it's kind of a mix of like contemporary fiction, but with overtones from history. So I included this in the stack. Lebedev, who has won international praise for his soul-searching prose and unflinching examination of history's evils, shines light on the fault line where Nazism met Soviet communism, evolving into the new fascism of today's Russia. Yeah, so I still plan on reading this. This published on January 7th from New Vessel Press. So check that out if you're interested. All right, what else we got here? Oh, yes. This is a book that we will be reviewing in Historical Novels Review. Not by me, but by someone else has been assigned this, but I have a copy of this, and this is from Blackstone Publishing. This is The Secrets of Flowers by Sally Page, and this comes out February 25th. It's a really intriguing premise. It says here, the smallest treasures can hold the biggest mysteries. I'm sorry for the floating lint and things that are happening right now. 1 year after her husband's death, Emma has become a wallflower, hiding among the brighter blooms in the florist where she works. But when a colleague invites her to a talk on the Titanic, she begins a quest to uncover who arranged the flowers on board. As Emma discovers the lost story of the girl and the great ship, she realizes that flowers may unlock long-buried secrets in her own life. Will she be able to unlock the mystery of the Titanic and heal her own heart too? So it's kind of like a, historical, maybe a romance or something like that. Yeah. The Secrets of Flowers by Sally Page, Blackstone Publishing, coming out February 25th. This book is already at... Nope, this is also coming out in February from Bloomsbury. We are also reviewing this in the Historical Novels Review. It's called Mutual Interests. I'm not sure if I've shown it on the channel before. I think I might have. I think I might have already covered this one. But it's by Olivia Wolfgang Smith. And my pub sheet is mostly an author interview, I think. Yep. So let me not read that, and I'll read from the jacket. At the turn of the 20th century, Vivian Lesperance is determined to flee her origins in Utica, New York, and avoid repeating her parents' dull, limited life. When she meets Oscar Schmidt, a middle manager at a soap company, Vivian finds a partner she can guide to build the life she wants, not least because, more interested in men himself, Oscar will leave Vivian to tend to her own romances with women. But Vivian's plans require capital, so the two pair up with Squire Clancy, scion of an old American fortune. Together they found Clancy and Schmidt, a preeminent manufacturer of soap, perfume, and candles. When Oscar and Squire fall in love, the trio form a new kind of partnership. Vivian reaches the pinnacle of her power building. Vivian reaches the pinnacle of her power building Clancy and Schmidt into an empire of personal care products while operating behind the image of both men. But exposure threatens, and all three partners are made aware of how much they have to lose. Let's see here. This is a beguiling story of queer romance, empire, and power. Yeah. So this comes out, doesn't have the exact dates, but February is the publication month for Mutual Interest, if you are interested. All right. Now this is a book I mean to read. There's two of them here. They're already out, so it's not like they are on their way. But I was offered finished copies of these novels, and I said yes, I would like to read these. The first, because I've read so many great reviews of these books. The first one is The Storm We Made by Vanessa Chan. This came out last year. I think it was probably in the fall. But this is what it's about, and I plan on reading it. Malaya, 1945. Cecily Alcantara's family is in terrible danger. Her 15-year-old son, Abel, has disappeared, and her younger daughter, Jasmine, hides in a basement to avoid being pressed into service at the comfort stations. Her older daughter, Jujubee, who serves tea to drunk Japanese soldiers, becomes angrier by the day. Cecily knows two things: that this is all her fault, and that her family must never learn the truth. A decade prior, Cecily, desperate to be more than a housewife in British-colonized Malaya, is lured into a life of espionage by the charismatic General Fujiwara. Mesmerized by a dream of an Asia for Asians, she helps usher in a war, and with it a new and more brutal occupier. Now her family is on the brink of destruction, and she will do anything to save them. Spanning years of pain and triumph and told from the perspectives of 4 unforgettable characters, The Storm We Made is a dazzling saga about the horrors of war, the fraught relationships between the colonized and their oppressors, and the ambiguity of right and wrong when survival is at stake. So, this book is from... apparently, yeah, it was a Good Morning America book club selection. Mary Sue Rucci Books. Mary Sue Rucci Books. So that's smaller, maybe a boutique type of publishing house. But The Storm We Made had excellent reviews. I know our reviewers loved it. So happy to have a copy so that I can also enjoy it. And then there's also this book that came out. Again, I think it came out in the fall of 2024. No, it's actually a 2023 book. How did I miss this one? Well, I thought, and I think I might have shown this to you guys before, but I'm going to show it to you again because I got a finished copy. This is The Story of the Forest by Linda Grant. It's put out by Zando Books, another independent publisher, I believe. Yeah, Linda Grant, she's a UK writer, so let's see what this one's about. It's 1913. Let me just wet my whistle. It's 1913 when Mina, the young and carefree daughter of a Jewish merchant, roams into a forest on the edge of the Baltic Sea looking for mushrooms, as you do. Instead, she encounters a gang of unruly... Oh, this is horrible. This is the last thing you want to run into when you go into the forest looking for mushrooms. She encounters a gang of unruly, charismatic Bolsheviks. Wow. An adventure that will become the stuff of familial lore for generations to come. Intending to save them from further corruption, and in an act that forever changes the trajectory of their family's life, Mina and her eldest brother Jossel board a ship to England. There, the threat of a different war looms large. When World War I hits, Jossel is sent to the front, where he keeps a severely wounded soldier in his unit alive until morning by telling him tales, including that his sister Mina will marry him if he survives. You should not be doing that, bro. The soldier lives, and then asks for Mina's hand, their marriage uniting 2 growing trade dynasties. But over time, Mina and Jossel will learn that not everyone in their family has survived the wars and pogroms, even as they and their offspring struggle to build new lives in Liverpool in the midst of ever-shifting discriminations. Oh, this is fascinating. Based on the author's own family history and legends, The Story of the Forest is a remarkable record of family lore and a meditation on the power of stories to ground us, particularly in the face of life's inevitable losses, told with a keen wit and a sharp eye to the charms and the foibles of family, by masterful British novelist Linda Grant. So, The Story of the Forest. Let me know if you read this book already, or The Storm We Made. I'd be curious to hear from you guys. The Story of the Forest by Linda Grant. What else we got coming up here? Got 3 more books. Where are we at? 35 minutes. Okay. Now is this one? So this is a mixture of like present day and history. But I know that we have a review coming from this book in Historical Novels Review for the February issue, which will be coming out very soon. All right. This is The Sirens by Amelia Hart. And this comes out in March, I think 4th. Doesn't specify the date, but anyway, let me get into it. Oh, this is a follow-up. This is a follow-up, I think, to her first book. Amelia Hart, she wrote a book called Wayward, Weyward. So in Wayward, Hart introduced 3 generations of women who find solace in a powerful connection with nature that in turn helps them to combat some very bad men. So it says here, her fantastic follow-up, Sirens, is similar in that it too cleverly links different generations of women who stand their ground against men behaving badly. But this time, it's thanks to the transformative power of the ocean. Let's see here. All right, so then let me jump into the actual, it says here 2019. So we're going to start off in like more contemporary times in this book. 2019, Lucy awakens to find her hands around her ex-lover's throat. Horrified, she flees to her older sister's house on the Australian coast, hoping she can help explain the strangely vivid nightmare that preceded the attack. But Jess is nowhere to be found. As Lucy awaits her return, the rumors surrounding Jess's strange small town start to emerge. Over the decades, numerous men have gone missing at sea. A tiny baby was found hidden in a cave. And sailors tell of hearing women's voices on the waves. Desperate for answers, Lucy finds and begins to read her sister's adolescent diary. Okay. Well, let's jump. Then we jump backwards in time to, let's see here, 1800. Twin sisters Mary and Eliza have been torn from their loving father in Ireland and forced onto a convict ship bound for Australia. For their entire lives, they feared the ocean, as their mother tragically drowned when they were young girls. Yet, as the boat takes them further and further from all they know, they begin to notice changes in their bodies that they can't explain, and they feel the sea beginning to call to them. Ooh. And then it jumps back to the present day as Lucy awaits Jess's return. Strange rumors about the town. Yep. All right, the Sirens. Yes. That sounds pretty good. Again, this is coming out from St. Martin's Press. I forgot to mention the publisher, St. Martin's Press. In March, sometimes they'll just put the publication month if they don't, they know that the day might shift a little bit. Oh, and this was her first book. This cover will probably be very familiar to many of you historical fiction or just fiction readers in general. I think that was a big hit when that came out. I haven't read it, but anyway, we've got the Sirens. And then this is more contemporary, like historical fiction. I mean, it's in the 60s. But this is coming out in April from HeWR Books, April 15th. And this is a book called Korum House by Bailey Seabolt. All right, Korum House. On a blistering summer day, I told HeWR Books. Okay, on a blistering summer day, 1968, 9-year-old Tommy vanishes without a trace from Korum House, an orphanage on the shores of Lake Champlain. Some say a nun drowned him, others say he ran away, or maybe he never existed. 50 years later, his disappearance is still unsolved. What's with these flying lint pieces going on? Oh my goodness, I gotta stop moving. I mean, it's dusty, but it's not that dusty. Struggling true crime writer Alex Kelly needs a fresh start. When she's asked to ghostwrite a book about the orphanage and the abuses that occurred there, she packs up her belongings and moves to wintry Burlington, Vermont. As Alex tries to untangle the conflicting stories surrounding Tommy's disappearance, her investigation takes a chilling turn when she discovers a woman's body in the lake. Alex is convinced the death is connected to Korum House's dark past, even if local police officer Russell Parker thinks she's just desperate for a career-saving story. As the body count rises, Alex must prove that the key to finding the killer lies in Tommy's murder, or risk becoming the next victim. Drawing inspiration from the real-life stories of St. Joseph's Orphanage, Korum House, This then they kind of reckons with both the long aftermath of violence and the hazards of writing true crime. It is an eerie, suspenseful mystery, sure to find readers among fans of Tana French. That was another book reviewer writing that. And this is Bailey Seabolt's debut novel. So, Korum House. Kind of, overtones. It's not set entirely in historical times, but, I mean, it kind of is as far as her investigation goes. But anyway, it sounds like something I would like to read, some like mix of like mystery, thriller, history type of thing. So, Korum House from Bailey Seybold. And then this little novel, I've got a finished copy of this little beauty here. This is from Farrar, Straus and Giroux. I believe it is out now, or will be in the next week or so. It's a little book called Another Man in the Street by Carol Phillips. A little slim read here. At the height of the swinging 60s, Victor Johnson, a young immigrant from the Caribbean, arrives in London with dreams of becoming a journalist in the mother country. Instead, he finds work collecting rent for Peter Feldman, a landlord equally kind and unscrupulous, and then falls into a relationship with Peter's lonely secretary, Ruth, herself a migrant from the north of England. Spanning nearly half a century, and set against the backdrop of a nation that is slowly, reluctantly evolving into a modern multiracial society, the story unfolds to reveal the truth of both Peter's tragic background and Ruth's agonizing secret, and we witness Victor, out of his depth, adjusting to the painful realities of life in his new country. Both epic in its sweep, and I'm only making that face because it's a small book. It's only a little over 200 pages, but epic in its sweep and devastatingly intimate in its portrayal of damaged lives caught between two worlds. Another Man in the Street lays bare the traumas that often overtake personal relationships in the wake of societal transformation, and the high price of attempting to reinvent oneself. So, that is my final fiction roundup, historical fiction, little mix of everything here, but really mostly set in historical times. Another Man in the Street, Carol Phillips, Farrar, Straus and Giroux, available now. Pretty sure. Okay, guys, so I'm going to be making some more headways on the stacks underneath my desk so I can get them out and sorted. Piles for donation, piles for my bookshelves. But anyway, let me know what you think, what appeals to you, what you're most excited to read from the stack, if you are. Any of them, I'd like to know. And what else can I say? Just like I said, I was doing some catch up on some book reviews, and I plan on making a video soon to show you what I've been reading lately, since that really kind of stalled out. It's taken the last 2 weeks for me to kind of actually make some headway on some other things, and I've already submitted 2 reviews. I got to work on another tomorrow. But yeah, there's things in progress. And my January, yeah, I'm still catching up. Still catching up on my book reviews, but I'm not trying to kill myself anymore. Just so you know. Anyway, guys, thanks for joining me again for another long episode here at the History Shelf. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed being here. And until next time, thanks for joining. Take care and read more history. Bye.